in front of that goal line. And Neil Brisson gets us started, the 42-year-old professor with the whistle in hand. The United States with a goal in hand, but then surrendered the lead just 5 minutes later. We've talked about it coming down to the wire. You were part of that with a match against Grenada a few years back. A lot of the Europeans say it's just Antigua, or they might say Antigua, but they have their Liechtensteins and San Marinos, and they can cause problems as well.
Oh yeah, especially on a small pitch like this, the pace they have. They're pretty well organized right now through the first half. You can see they've marked up, they're covering key spots. So, you know, again, is 4 points good enough? Is it okay to get a point today and then go after the 3 points at home?
And again, we've talked about this in games past. MLS was constructed with the idea of helping build the United States into a soccer power, and it's done a decent job at that as far as building depth. But you take a look at Jamaica, you take a look even down through NASL and into USL, the Caribbean and Central America, the whole region is getting strengthened by MLS's arrival.
They've given them opportunities to play. You can see the North American Soccer League sign in the background. Obviously, they play there.
Ball driven across, looking for the header. Up goes Dempsey, but off target. That's the first shot he's had.
Yeah. Good opportunity. Put himself in a great spot. Just couldn't get enough on it to put it on goal. But that's the other thing we talk about. Have we seen enough of Clint Dempsey today? Have you seen enough of Clint Dempsey today so far up top, along with Herculez Gomez?
No, I think the two plays that jumped out at me were when he dropped back into the midfield. One feeding off Bradley on the shot, but we don't see enough of it. And again, that's similar to some of the concerns about Josie Altidore. Just Dempsey has started to fight through that a bit, but he does have the tendency to disappear. Pass behind. Williams is having a rough game. Bradley giving chase. Nice run, Burton, to the edge of the 18, and the whistle blows a bit further back. No signs of the injury to Michael Bradley as he ran keeping pace. Out 6 weeks with that right quad, and then marks his return with a stellar goal. Almost had one here. Cameron looked like he wanted to drive further but didn't feel comfortable, and there's the wind. When you're going up against it, it accentuates, it exaggerates the spin of the ball, which you can use to your advantage, but the field's not wide enough.
Well, and especially you got to aim a little further inside because it's going to bend an extra 2 or 3 yards, and you saw that ball.
Nice through ball in the overlap, and Gomez can't control. Dempsey feeds Herculez, who clatters into James. And Mulvin James isn't faking it this time. No grins this time from Klinsmann.
No, you can see he's trying to go. James runs right into him. Go back to that play. What a great ball by Dempsey playing in there. Herculez Gomez just mistouches his final touch to try to go into goal and get a shot off, and James reads it and comes off his line and gets it.
Chris Wood. You had the chance to play with him.
Yeah.
Do you think he'd be a coach?
You know what? I knew he'd be a coach. The way he talked to us, but the way he worked with the younger goalkeepers, you could see that he was going to be a coach. Did I think he'd be a goalkeeping coach for the U.S. national team? Probably not.
Of course, he's also the goalkeeping coach at Everton, which just so happens to be the same place that Tim Howard is. So he's basically the guy that makes sure Howard remembers his gloves wherever he goes.
Well, and that's important, you know, and I think Jurgen Klinsmann saw that. When you bring in a guy, a coach, you want to bring in a guy that the goalkeepers are used to. You want to bring in a guy that they like working with and they'll work hard for. And the relationship between Tim Howard and the goalkeeper Chris Woods is perfect. They work well together. Look what he's done, the success he's had at Everton. So, and I tell you what, being with us, he was a fantastic guy and a great guy to have in the locker room.
James appears to be okay, although it looks like he might let someone else take the kick. Let's see. favoring that shoulder. We've seen, what was it? It was about 1:20 where he got his red card, the second yellow. This time, the luxury of the injury. All the way down to Howard, though. Again, that wind was 10 miles an hour at the start of the match. It's got to be going over 20 right now.
And again, you wonder if James wouldn't have taken his time and got that second yellow call for stalling. It was 1-1, I believe, at the time, or 1-0 at the time. It was really an absolute silly play he did.
Another slip. Goodson might want to change his cleats, and then panicked pass that Bradley turns into something positive. And that's really the danger right there. Not the danger, but the concern when you play on a tight pitch. You make a nice move, and there's still 3 defenders around you.
Yep. It's almost playing like the old Spartan Stadium. So tight, confined.
Blackstock missing the last 2 games against Guatemala. Imagine if he'd been there.
Yep.
Again, Herc not backing up, but called for the foul against Francis Ango. United States starting with the 3-1 win against Antigua, but then the draw in Guatemala, and then the loss against Jamaica, making things even more of a concern. In all honesty, they did get the victory. They did look good. They did, if you want to say, uncover the potential of Williams and Zusi, but it was still just 1-0.
Well, I think you got to give a lot of credit to Miller. I believe the goalkeeper was for Jamaica. The saves he was making. The one goal that went in from Hercules was the one I didn't think should have gone in, because he made 3 or 4 other saves that you just sat that were world-class saves. So I agree, that day was a little bit of a facade, because the U.S. should have really won 4 or 5-0.
Bradley, Byers staying with him into the midfield. Dempsey and Herc. Johnson's migrated into that center forward role. Soft pass. And again, it just seems as though the weight of the balls that they're passing to each other just not there, as though maybe because of the pitch, maybe because of uncertainty, they're not sure if their teammates are going to be able to control it.
It's making you look. You see already in the background warming up, and that means the sub's coming in because they're warming them up pretty good, and you can't tell who it is. But yeah, maybe you can't tell. It doesn't look like the field, like the grass is really that thick that that's going to slow down the game. I think the wind is really starting to affect the U.S., especially trying to play those through balls.
Bocanegra in for Bradley. Dempsey takes it off his boot. Good ball forward, but Hercules off stride, cleared away to the far side, and Klinsmann looks like he wanted to kick it harder. 54th minute, they're going to say off a touch, and Antigua gets it back quickly. Off to the races goes Byers, but he runs out of real estate.
It almost looked like Jones was warming up in the background. Jeremy Jones was warming up.
Again, carrying a yellow. And that's a bit of a risk, because if they don't get full points here, it becomes even more important to get full points against Guatemala. Bocanegra almost poorly cleared. Bradley trying to go around, but then blasted high. Dempsey has a right to look back to that flank in disgust. Zusi should have done better. And if anything, it's even harder to kick the ball out of play right now.
With that wind, yeah. Well, and that's what you talk about. You already got the wind going against you, so it's got to be played hard. It's got to play low. You got to keep the ball out of the air and make it that, because the wind's just going to take it.
However, it also could, again, be used to your advantage. Mulvin James, draw him off the line if you can send the right ball through.
If he mistimes it enough, yeah, there's no doubt the way it's bending. But if you're going to do that, it's got to be whipped across, not floated.
Ball from Chirundolo finds Bradley. Back for Chirundolo. In for Williams. This is some of the movement, the quickening of the pace. But now what? Bocanegra to the Hoffenheim man. Back to the captain. Johnson wide, edge of the 18, double team, splits into the area, lays it off Dempsey, but not enough on it, cleared by Griffith. Good hustle, Williams. Cherundolo. Bradley finds the pocket. Zusi. Overlap Cherundolo, keeps it in on the turn, but can't bring it under control. Almost had it there. Guatemala and Jamaica also going on at the Mateo Flores in this round. Danny Williams coming out. Jermaine Jones only knows one speed full and one direction forward. Unfortunately, his favorite color is yellow sometimes. So can he stay under control? EJ. By the way, that goal moved him above Clint Dempsey to 4th all-time in World Cup qualifying goals, his 9th. 57th minute, Bradley. Byers keeping pace. Flipped on Gomez. Dempsey with a little shoulder check, but Mark Joseph didn't mind. Cameron trying to thread the needle. Cherundolo couldn't keep it in.
Well, the U.S. is doing a better job. They've had more possession. They just can't seem. Antigua and Barbuda's doing a nice job. They're sitting back. They're not allowing the U.S. to find the spaces.
Long range, no problem for Howard.
Well, if you want the win, that's a little ambitious shooting from there to beat Tim Howard.
One concern if you're looking for 3 points today, Marcelo. This is the 19th game under Jurgen Klinsmann. In the previous 18, in only 3 have they scored more than 1 goal. And they need 4 today if they're going to get 3 points. Bradley. They're getting the shots, but haven't really bothered James much. Spins away. Cameron making something of it. Good ball forward. Zusi back for the former Dynamo man. Again for Zusi, has the angle, drops it. But Hercules followed Dempsey, and Dempsey screaming at Zusi, wanting a different pass. I think Zusi thought Hercules would trail, but Dempsey had an argument. Cherundolo again having to save the day.
Yeah, obstruction. Obstruction right there, and this is dangerous. You've got the wind behind you. You've got 2 or 3 guys. Yeah, because you saw Byers getting behind there, and Cherundolo got his way so he couldn't get to that ball.
Did look like he called the foul. Arm is down, which basically means a direct free kick. And you see Antigua only 4 fouls, and fouls what doomed the U.S. in Jamaica. Blasted wide. Tim Howard saw it all the way. Quentin Griffith couldn't spin it in. Take a look at this Antigua side, and they do have their veterans that have been sticking around mentoring in Mark Joseph and George Dublin. But Thomas on the back line, just 22. Griffith just 20. Francis on goal, just 19. Wouldn't be surprised to see Antigua make some noise maybe in the next Gold Cup. Headed on Dempsey. Montenegro slipping, and that gave it the extra spin. A foot race, but again with the wind, Tim Howard gets the benefit.
Well, and that's the matchup Antigua wants. They want that matchup with their Goodson and Byers one-on-one. But again, you see how strong the wind is. He threw that ball, what, three quarters of the field.
Cameron against the wind. It will spin back. Well met, though, by Francis Angol. Thomas trying to challenge. Bradley does seem to be the one player that is putting some pace on the pass. Johnson lets it go, and Griffith guides it out. Not a feeling of desperation, but not a great feeling around this U.S. squad right now. But is that fair? 7-2-2 this year. That's already more wins than they had all of last year, and the fewest losses since 2004. But it just doesn't seem that way.
You know, I think we look at it because there's been such milestone victories. You go to Italy and you beat Italy. You go to Mexico and you beat Mexico. So these are huge wins for U.S. soccer.
So it shouldn't be a problem beating Jamaica or Antigua.
Well, you think that way, but the difficulties of coming here, you can do your homework on Italy. You can't do your homework always on Antigua.
Tamarly Thomas, 29-year-old midfielder, ruled to have bumped Herc from behind. And they're sweeping the legs out. Hard to argue with that one.
No, Thomas completely sweeps out Hercules' legs right there. Great opportunity for the U.S. set piece. You've got guys that are good in the air. Bradley usually puts in a pretty good ball. Now it's about judging the wind.
2 men in the wall. Bradley launches it over them. A push down on Goodson in the box at the 6, but he's not happy. He says he was fouled, but the referee will have none of it. And 6'3", 6'4", but not a lot of meat on the frame. Could not keep his footing under the pressure. One advantage Bocanegra has. Chested down, looking to fight through. Blasted away under the charge of Thomas. Howard sends it into touch. And it's plays like that that make you worry. It's only one away from this being an utter disaster. Little bump from Jermaine Jones and leaves it in. Yellow card, he's gone. Next match against Guatemala, they will not be able to count on Jermaine Jones. And that was the risk for sticking him in for the final half hour.
But that's silly. You see what he did? His hand. Look at his hand.
Why?
Yeah, exactly. That's just a silly yellow card. And now it's even more dangerous because look at the position it's in. Free kick, the wind behind you. It's wet outside.
Only 2 goals for Quentin Griffith. Deflected wide. I guarantee you Tim Howard with the yellow uniforms had shades of Luton Shelton in his head. But the U.S. is just making this too easy for Antigua.
Well, a point, at the end of the day, a point's good enough for the U.S. They'll have to fight on the last day, which you never want to do. You want to solidify that spot as soon as possible, and they still got plenty of time left. But again, for Antigua, what a great result if they get a point.
And again, the question as the ball slips away, the decision to insert Jones, who was on a yellow for the tournament and also a bit injured. They have Maurice Seydoux, they have the youngster Corona, the veteran Beckerman. Sasha Kleshton finally called back, but the decision of Klinsmann was to go to his old favorite. Let's see if it pays off. Dempsey. Klinsmann says he likes when he comes back to the midfield to get a touch, but they need someone to score. Jones takes it away from Dublin. Switched over for Goodson. Slotted for Bradley. Into the area. And again looking for the perfect touch. Hercules Gomez pretty much passes it to the keeper.
Yeah, twice now. That last final touch has let him down. We saw when he got in behind, he took it too far ahead of him, and right there the same thing, just a touch too far. He's in behind, great opportunity. His touch is letting him down.
Take the shot as Byers rifles it wide. If there's a rebound, Dempsey's there to pounce.
You can see right there, look at that extra touch right there, just a little too far again, and James does a nice job. He comes off his line, and quickly, how quickly he outlets, but again, it's just that final little ball, that final touch that's letting the U.S. down.
Eddie Johnson again, that was the red letter position in the starting lineup. He's done well at left back, at left mid, and actually scored a goal as he pinched into the middle, but they have not gone to that again. Jones, nice pace. Cherundolo is making the run, but just mistimed.
Well, and I could see why Jurgen Klinsmann allows and likes him coming into the midfield. It gets him a touch. But again, you see Graham Susie stepping up. You see Eddie Johnson stepping up. So you've got enough bodies in there that creates a little bit of room for him to receive a ball in the midfield.
Bradley. Spins to the near side, Johnson. Good way to celebrate your 2-year return. Dempsey looks to be a bit more involved. Now steps into the 18, Bocanegra. Bradley. Back from Zusi. Jermaine Jones.
Well, 3 players warming up. One looked to be Sasha Kleshin, and the other one looked to be Alan Gordon. So obviously you see that you're going to have to put, maybe we talked, these kind of games, small field, you got to start putting some balls in.
Dempsey on a 120-yard pitch, that would have been perfect.
Yeah. Again, you have to fight the elements of they said they measured it. I'm going to guess that's not 70 yards. I'm going to guess it's a little shorter width-wise. So eventually, you know, you got to put a big target. You got to put a guy that can fight and win balls in the air, that can hold the ball. We haven't seen the U.S. anybody be able to hold the ball and drag in the midfield a little bit. So I think that's where you see an Alan Gordon warming up.
Yeah, we talked about it in the Express in the pregame, as Antigua trying to stay healthy enough to finish what would be an historic point in the first visit of the United States to this tiny island in the Caribbean. A lot of people talking about, well, you need a goal, why not go with Josie Altidore? But most of those goals are distant memories. People remember the kid as he burst out of Red Bull. People remember a few highlights over the last couple of years, but just one goal and only 4 shots in 12 games under Klinsmann. I think in many ways, most coaches would say that was enough rope.
Yeah. Well, you know, and sometimes you just need a break. Sometimes you need to get away from it and look at it from a different perspective. Look at it, watch it, and evaluate yourself. And sometimes you got to find a way to recommit yourself. Sometimes you're just not there 100%. So maybe this is a great opportunity for him to sit back, relax, evaluate where he's been, and then come back with a fresh attitude.
Unlike Eddie Johnson, I don't think it will be 2 years before he's back.
No,
Ball through the middle. Myers chugging. Howard with the soft touch. Didn't want to give it away. Bocanegra turns it upfield. Again, Boca now at Racing Santander. You can see that as well. The Segunda on BN Sport. Here's a chance now for Bradley. Bends it around for Cherundolo, but beautiful defense by Thomas. Blackstock. Looks like the leg's getting tired. He's just dropping into the midfield and letting Byers do the running. Rain starting to pick up again. Haven't seen a lot of those balls out of the back either. Johnson bumped off, looking for a foul. MLS, he might have gotten it, but Randolph Burton gets the ball. And again, Brazan has been calling it that way for both teams.
But he's been consistent, you know, and I think that's one thing every player, when you talk about referees, just wants consistency, and he's been good tonight. You see, he goes around him, just grab, no foul, just part of the game.
And you talk about that game in Guatemala for Antigua. The match here at the Surviv as well also could have gone their way. What might have been, but we're seeing some promising signs under Fernando Abraham and Tom Curtis.
I tell you what, Antigua's not off by much. They really are not off by much. That game in Guatemala, they were in that game completely until James hurt his team by taking that second yellow card. And then at home against Guatemala, it took an absolute bomb, a bomb from Carlos Ruiz for them to get a goal and to lose 1-0. But they're in every single game, and they're not off. They're not off by much.
You stick Lawrence Robinson out there, you stick Nico Ledgerwood out there today, U.S. might be losing right now.
You know, and then put him back into the Guatemala game. You know, some of these big stars you need.
Zusi couldn't keep it in. He might be one of those players coming out, but again, with the insertion of Jones, only 2 substitutes remain. Again, a draw is not the worst case scenario, but it's the neighbor. You want to get your 3 points here. In fact, they were hoping, and they didn't admit it, but they were hoping to get a lot of goals here to give them the advantage over Guatemala heading into the final match. But here, on their heels, driving in at Chirundolo, forced wide. Zane Francis Angol drops it. Thomas, as the wind picks up, the turning shot just wide. Howard pulled back at the last moment, but that was close. Good play by the youngster.
Great turn. Great turn in the way they play this ball. And look at Thomas. He turns and rips this ball, just puts it wide. Tim Howard's right there, but still just surprised everybody how quick he turned and shot from about 25 yards.
Chirundolo pushing it forward, headed clear. And there you can see Antigua has actually outshot the U.S. in the second half. Is it 4-0? The last 4 shots have come from the Bena boys. Dublin pushing forward, the captain. Johnson, as the field starting to chop up a bit. Good chance now as Hercules wins it back. Zusi leaning in, but the ball falls for Blackstock. Dexter looking for the killing pass out wide. Byers impressed again, but the pass a little off. Here's Jermaine Jones. He likes to go forward. Good play, Richards, but he leaves something. I have a feeling this is the last play for one of these players. Substitutes loosening up. Gomez, soft chip. Dempsey, but he couldn't get on top of it. Still in play. Zusi. Zane Francis Angol on him. Chirundolo. Jones. Blackstock back to cover quick. Bradley tried to turn. Dublin stripped it away. Trying to poke it free was Goodson. Commits the foul, and that'll slow things down a bit. You could just sense the rhythm. The United States not sputtering, but not catching.
Yeah, they're definitely, I don't think they're sputtering, but I also think this is a team right now that can't find that outlet. So now you put in a guy like Alan Gordon, you can hit some big balls into the air, but this is the guy that can hold the ball. And if he can hold the ball, that means he can drag in the midfield and to help into the attack. He can drag in the midfield as a Bradley or a Jones, or maybe start getting Zusi back into the game.
Well, it might not be the number, but one of the numbers that Altidore wears, the 17, and it's worn on the back of Alan Gordon today. His first cap. Johnson also pushing forward. U.S. throwing numbers up. Ball deflects. Luke George Bakley now launches it upfield. And again, mention this. Gordon, not quite a super sub, but let's just say a utility man with an awfully sharp knife for San Jose.
Yeah.
And it's been figured out that even though Chris Wondolowski, his teammate, is leading the league in scoring, in goals per minute, Gordon beats him. In assists per minute, he beats Brad Davis. He's getting his chance, lays it off here. Bradley, that was a dangerous one. Second one blasted away by Burton. Jones launches it back to the area. Johnson tries to get to it, but Francis Angol first. Good layoff by Alan Gordon. The bump against Byers, and he gets called.
Well, look at that. It's like you said, between Wondolowski, Alan Gordon, and how about Lenhart? We haven't even talked about Lenhart with them with San Jose. That's a threesome up top that is just and listen, soon you keep doing this, expect to see Lenhart out here.
Ball wide, crossed into the middle, but over everyone, and again Dempsey looks at Zusi in disgust. The other point for Gordon, he's used to playing on a pretty small pitch in San Jose.
Nope, exactly. 100% he can get the ball in the air. He'll fight. Look at this. He'll fight. He'll run. He'll close people down. To me, the important thing is someone's got to hold the ball to bring in Bradley, to bring in Zusi. And now having Alan Gordon up there, you can have that guy that can hold the ball.
And maybe Johnson can play off of him.
Yep.
Works pretty well with Montero.
Dempsey can too.
In for Jones. Dempsey now at the point of the diamond. Jones got away from him, lunges in, and a bit fortunate the referee is lenient. Might have been unintentional, but the boot did come out. Again, the pitch, but also the control of Jones letting him down. And the 35-year-old veteran George Dublin knows that's going to leave a mark. Alan Gordon, a 30-year-old debutante out of Long Beach, California. Going from a phenom to a journeyman, but he's found an Indian summer in San Jose. Final 15 minutes. This is where championships are won and lost. Jones. Cameron bumped by Byers. Threaded through past Goodson, and Howard forced to sweep the deck. What would Boris say to you and Alexi if he was watching this? Would you be able to understand him first?
Yeah. First, we wouldn't be able to hear him until we got into the locker room. But, you know, I don't think Boer would be much at us. I think he'd be more concerned about the midfield right now and the two center forwards. They just haven't had creative enough. We haven't seen Zuzi much at all this second half, and we haven't seen Eddie Johnson or a Clint Dempsey. And let's be honest, when Landon's not there, Clemson needs to take this team on his back, and the same with Michael Bradley. Michael Bradley's been all over the midfield. We just haven't seen enough of Dempsey.
Question getting set to come in. It will be his third appearance, and in some ways, while he's been the forgotten child, he's been the good luck charm for Jurgen Klinsmann. Played against Costa Rica in 2011, and the win in Italy this season. And again, what he wants to see from Kleston, though, is taking players on. And it's a tight pitch, might not be actually the perfect circumstances, but beggars can't be choosers. Zusi will exit. Now the question is, does Kleston go to his comfortable inside role, or does he head out to the flank where he has had problems? He's not in Columbus anymore, but he will be in Kansas City, and I wouldn't count Zusi out. The 27-year-old now with Anderlecht, along with Bilia, fantastic midfield in Belgium. One of the Manny Shellshite kids that's done well. Good chance here. Out wide, Johnson holding off Mark Joseph. Finally forced back. Jones again. Held on to it, but this time he gets the foul in his favor. Tom Curtis can't believe it. Dempsey. Might be a short field, but 55 yards away from goal isn't where Klinsmann wants him. Looking for a perfect pass. Kleston trying to win it back.
Well, you know, I go back and we keep saying the U.S. this, the U.S. that.
Griffith trying to break through the middle. Nice behind the back. Turn, shot deflected wide, and it looks like it might have hit his own man, but nope. Corner says Brazan, or does he change his mind? Yes. The assistant on the near side, Mordiano, corrects the call, but that was dangerous.
You know, for everything we said about the U.S., they're moving the ball slow, this and that.
Ball never left the area.
You got to give them credit, Antigua. You got to give them credit. They've done a good job defensively. They stayed compact. They've forced the ball where they want it. They've slowed the game down to their rhythm to see if they can hit the United States on a counterattack. they really have done a nice job, despite US hasn't been able to break them down.
Antigua yet to go to the bench with 10 minutes remaining. It's been a great game for the Nottingham Forest man. Former English Youth International, Dexter Blackstock. And it seems like he's given some fresh legs to Byers as well. You can see what they've done, spread the back line a bit. Cameron almost as a sweeper with Bocanegra and Goodson as markers to try and get Cherundolo down as a wing. But if you're going to use a wing, you need to get some crosses. Bocanegra. Jones. Dempsey. Kleshton. And again, the passes back, the side passes, the negative balls from Kleshton is what infuriated Klinsmann. Here's the shot he's been looking for, and it almost goes in. James forced into a stellar stop to push it wide. That's what he's been looking for from Kleshton.
I think that's what we've been looking for the U.S. team in general over the last 80 minutes. A guy to step up and hit something from distance. And James does a nice job. You see that ball starting to move back to where he was diving. And look at this great look from behind. Look at James moving and it dips back the other way. You can't hold that. So James does a nice job, pushes it wide.
Antigua now on the break, again using the youngster Griffith on this right flank. Good spin. Goodson gets there first. Only as far as Burton. Wanted the right foot, shot back post, and Howard. I don't think he would have had that.
What a quick release by Byers. He touched it, not even a step, and he tries to bend it again with the wind. It's get a little bit more pace on it.
You know how you talk about smaller clubs when they win titles, how there are sometimes ball falls behind Gordon. More difficult to beat when they get promoted than teams that have been around for a while. Well, Byers, 33 goals in 38 games, just a goal scorer.
Yeah, no, you can see right there how quickly he looked up. He knew where he wanted to go. He just couldn't get it to bend into that corner, but what a great look.
Unable to keep it in play, Kleshton. Again, more comfortable in the center of the park, but they're having to use him wide. And again, they've stuck Alan Gordon in. Pushed Eddie Johnson up, and there has not been one cross into the area since.
Not an early, you know what, I think we're all looking for that ball all the way down in the crosser. We haven't seen an early cross either, and that surprises defenses a lot as they're running back that early cross. But again, they're also probably playing against 20-mile-an-hour wind. That's a tough ball to play in there.
Gordon tracks down the bouncer, whipped wide, the cross inside. James bobbles but covers. Saw Gordon reminding the referee of James' tendency. This time gets rid of it quickly. Talk about those early crosses. David Beckham made a career out of it, made a legend out of it.
Yeah.
Far side, Francis Angol. England-born, Scotland-based. Been impressive. That time just runs out of space. By the way, if you want, in just a few moments, Argentina, Uruguay on beIN Sport en Español. We've got another 6.5 minutes here. Kansas City looming larger and larger as the minutes progress. Guatemala, Jamaica coming up a bit later as well. It's a 10 o'clock Eastern start. If that match would end in a draw, Kleshton, actually Cherundolo steps up to steal, finding Kleshton. Nice touch, Cherundolo. Dempsey didn't want to take it, thought there'd be someone behind. And again, if it was Fabian Johnson, there would have been. Up steps Cameron. Soft settle Jones. Kleshton was open, but he looks for the home run. Johnson with one to his name. Back for Bradley, but behind. He's decked. EJ keeps the ball, tries to blast it inside, deflected for the corner, and Bradley has had enough. The veteran Dublin has not done it a lot, but Bradley thinks he did it enough there. And Goodson and Gordon trying to be peacemakers. Cannot afford to lose Bradley in Kansas City. Sometimes it's hard to forget or hard to remember, but Bradley's still just 25.
Yep.
Might be worth another look because it didn't appear that dirty from here.
Couldn't tell. Still coming, but couldn't get a good angle at it. Ah, here we go. Let's see.
Got the ball.
Yeah, but look at the left foot. That, you know what? That's that rule. If I get the ball, I can do whatever I want. You can't. You see the right foot, but did you see that left foot come in from behind at the Achilles?
Question from the corner. Glancing header. And what a stop by Mulvin James. He's done it again.
Wow, are you kidding me with that save? The one paw up, hits off the crossbar. Fantastic save.
They'll switch around to the far side. Kleshton again. Over Gordon, but the header from Goodson goes wide. 86th minute ticking away. Two huge saves for James. As we said, he might not look like your normal keeper, but he gets the job done.
Well, Bradley with a great, look at that, just enough. He sees it how quick, cat-like, just gets his hand up there. Fantastic save.
Good step up by Cherundolo. Rifles it down the line. Gordon playing wide, opens a gap. Jones. Dempsey, left foot, deflects. Past Gordon and wide, corner kick. 3 minutes remain. Short corner, Bradley. Now on the break, everyone caught up field. Randolph Burton, near post, Blackstock if he sees him. Byers, Cameron covers. That was dangerous, but now it's Antigua that's caught up field. Bocanegra needs to pick up the pace. They're giving Antigua time to recover. Dempsey.
Wow, and the U.S. was fortunate there, very fortunate. We saw that run coming right down the middle from Blackstock, and if he would have got that ball, he was in all by himself.
Offside the call. Jones for Williams. Gomez coming out for Gordon. Zusi replaced by Kleshton. And the U.S. out of options. This is the first substitute for Antigua. And Byers, an awesome game for the 27-year-old Barracuda forward. Didn't get the goal, but he set up Blackstock for his first. Stefan Smith getting set to check in. We'll see. Byers still on the pitch. Tom Curtis, the coach, still having a word. Looks like a player is down, and that might change things a bit. Tim Howard, by the way, even if he is a captain at times, could still be carded for leaving the area. Might not like the rule, but it's there.
That's twice now for Burton going down with that calf cramp kind of bruise when he got kicked earlier.
The Trinidadian Vazan. How much time will he add? Figure at least 3. Through ball. Gordon chugging. James takes his time. Let's see if he gets rid of it before 6. It's not a 6 count from when you touch it, but from when you get up and have it in your control. Bounces through. Just past Smith. Smith, a 23-year-old, another USL pro from the Barracuda. Far side Gordon. Will there be a winner? Regulation over in less than 10 seconds. Touched back off the throw. Gordon. Johnson! Yes! EJ is back and on the board for 2. The cross we've been waiting for, and Johnson nails it home.
Well, again, Gordon with the great early ball. We talked about the early ball, but again, welcome back, Eddie Johnson. This is the Eddie Johnson we saw a few years ago. Aggressive, eager, attacking the ball, and just burying that ball in the 91st minute to give the U.S. the lead at 2-1. But what a great ball, an early ball by Alan Gordon.
Of all people, sometimes stats don't lie.
Yep.
Deflected away by Smith. Can the U.S. hold on? They were victimized after an early goal in Jamaica. Can they close the door after a late one in Antigua? Eddie Johnson, the eye of the tiger in Sir Vivian Richards Stadium. Launched high by Griffith. Back post header high. Top of the box cleared away. Jones down in a heap, and he's going to get the call. Colliding with Akeem Thomas. Well, it is one thing you do get. He'll throw his body in front of anything. Dempsey, the player, and he's very similar. Any way to help the team. You saw the celebration. Dempsey and Eddie Johnson, longtime friends. You know, he was encouraging him this week.
Well, it's nice to see him back. Nice to see him. What a great, great debut for him in a long time. Come in and help the United States with the 2 goals.
Yeah, Dempsey and almost a 50-50 ball, but they're going to say Thomas a bit reckless. Howard now killing a bit of clock. Won't get the shutout, but he might get the win. Gordon flipping it on. They're going to pull this kick back to the spot. Well, Jurgen Klinsmann had the bullseye on his back. I think he might have just hit the bullseye with Eddie Johnson. The shot from Blackstock deflects and goes wide. There's going to be a corner and maybe one last chance for Curtis and Antigua to get an equalizer. Only the first of the half. Whipped in near post, looking for Thomas, couldn't find it. Into the 18, headed down Blackstock. Smith is there, but a push to get the opening. Offside the call, says Brisson. 94th minute all but done. Eddie Johnson in the 20th and the 90th. Gordon again wins the header, but Johnson went the other way. Mark Joseph now. Might not have been pretty, but this would be a huge momentum builder for the U.S. heading into Kansas City if they can hold. No sign yet, but I'd imagine this is it. And it is. It is over in the 95th. Eddie Johnson sandwiches 2 goals around Blackstock's debut. The return of EJ, the story, as Klinsmann of the U.S. walk away with 3 points.
You know, you got to say, Eddie Johnson, everything you wanted in the guy. Great job by Eddie Johnson, a great debut.
So the 2-1 victory for the U.S. Jermaine Jones still pleading his innocence for the yellow that will force him out from the match against Guatemala. You'd still like to get the win in Kansas City, but this gives some breathing room. Jamaica, Guatemala to come later, but the Express to come your way next with Terry Lee For Marcelo Balboa, I'm Phil Shane. Thanks for joining us. Antigua 1, US 2.